to the perspective. First, let's start this baby off with some parkour. Now that that's over with, we're gonna do a guest interview with the one and only rap god, Eminem.
Feel like a rap god. All my people from the front to the back now.
Hi, Eminem. Will the real Slim Shady please stand up for a second?
No.
You seem problematic. Tell me about your struggles with addiction.
Well, in 2005, after me and Kim broke up for the second time, Kim was my wife, by the way, for all of you who didn't know out there, I started doing a lot of prescription medicine. Uh-oh! You kids should not do prescription medicine. Prescription medicine almost got me killed. I was hospitalized and almost died in 2005.
Well, the biological perspective of psychology supports the idea that some people are genetically predisposed to drug addiction. Has anyone else in your family suffered from drug addiction?
Well, my mom did.
Well, I believe that probably had something to do with your addiction.
So why did you decide to take up drugs after your divorce?
Well, I felt a lot of pain after me and Kim broke up, so I figured overdosing on painkillers would help.
Well, from what I know about the cognitive perspective of psychology, it sounds like you were using faulty problem solving. After being exposed to the stimuli of divorce and pain, you processed the information you received from your environment and came to the conclusion that drugs would be the best way to cope.
I don't really know what you're talking about, but that sounds pretty cool.
If we look at this from the humanistic perspective, your drug addictions were based on your inner self-concept from having gone through a difficult divorce. The divorce caused you to form a negative view of yourself, which resulted in your drug abuse problem that affected you as a whole person in the form of addiction.
Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Well, where do I start? Well, my dad, before I was born, he kind of ran away, and so I never really got to see him. And I kept trying to send letters to him, but you feel me? He never really responded. And so my mom, she just started doing a lot of drugs and stuff, and beating me, stuff like that. Pretty bad, detrimental, And then I went to school, and everyone, they're just haters. They just bullied me all the time. And then it doesn't help. My mom was really poor. She had no education, so she couldn't really get a job. So she was just working from place to place, and I just kept switching schools all the time. And I don't know. My childhood was a mess. But until I took up music, I always liked English. Even though I failed almost every class, I didn't really fail English that much. So that was pretty good and beneficial because helped me get my footing in rap. I dropped my first mixtape. It was pretty great. Yeah.
The behavioral perspective of psychology supports the belief that one's actions are the result of their environment. They're based on stimulus-response interactions. It seems to me like your difficulty fitting in and making friends led you to stop trying in school because you were sick of your environment. Also, adjusting to life without Kim was difficult, so you used drugs as a distraction from your environment.
Based on the psychoanalytic perspective of psychology, it sounds like you repressed the abuse from your mother and projected that anger onto Kim after your first breakup.
You got that right.
Now, are there any questions from the audience?
I have a few questions. So, let's talk about your children and your songs. Well, you cuss a lot in almost all of your songs, but you don't allow your children to cuss, and I don't quite understand that.
Well, I don't really want my girl Haley to grow up like what I was, just, cussing all the time, doing drugs, beating your wife, just stuff like that. I just don't want her to be like that, so I don't let her do some of the stuff I did.
Well, another thing, you grew up in, an industry mainly dominated by African Americans. Do you think either one of these, like your hard background where you grew up or growing up and trying to be in this industry, led to your drug abuse problem?
Well, you know, mostly a lot of the bullying came from me trying to be a white rapper in my neighborhood. I lived in the inner city, so I wasn't really liked that much, and no one believed that I could really do anything. So it just made me depressed over time, and I guess I just started taking up drugs later on in life to kind of get over that depression.
That's good. That really fits with the socio-cultural aspect of psychology.
Thank you for watching The Perspective. Be sure to tune in next week when we interview guest star Zac Efron. See you then.
And I will too.
Go.
The behavioral perspective. Cool, Bill. We gotta redo that.
Coleman, don't touch her head. Do you have any questions